What's up guys, Retro Gaming Guy here. So today in this video, we're going to unbox, demo, and review the Powkiddy V10 plug-and-play handheld video game console. This is a 3.5-inch IPS screen, comes loaded with tons and tons of retro video games. So what we'll do today is we'll unbox this, we'll take a look at the layout and design of this handheld, we'll fire it up, we'll tour through what is on here stock, and then we'll dive into a bunch of games to test out what the performance is like. Let's dive into it and get started. All right, guys, here we have our Powkiddy V10 handheld video game console. We'll start opening this up. So right on top, we have our user manual. We'll open this up, see what it entails. We've got our design layout here. So we got our controls, walks through the controls, the ports, as well as the precautions, features, all that good stuff in here. It talks about the battery, talks about installing games if you want to add or remove games. So it's got you covered, a couple different languages on the back as well. Here is our handheld. We're going to set that aside just for the time being. We have a micro SD card in here. I want to take a look at this 128 gigabyte micro SD card here. So this is going to be what we install into the actual handheld. This is where we're going to find all of our games, the entire operating system, all that good stuff. So underneath here, we have our USB-A to Type-C cable. This is how we're going to charge our device. So we've got all of that covered. Let's bring the actual handheld into the mix now. All right, so let's take a closer look at this handheld. We've got a 3.5-inch IPS screen that's going to deliver 480 by 320 resolution, standard 4-button configuration, A, B, X, and Y, D-pad over here on the left-hand side, start and select in the middle. We have our function keys on either side, so we have our minus here and our plus here, and then a speaker located dead center on the control deck. Now, if we go up here to the top, we've got our power button, followed by a reset button, 2 Type-C ports over here. That's going to be how we actually charge this via our Type-C to USB-A cable. Now on the back side, we have shoulder and trigger buttons, which I really love on here. I love the fact that they're on that little shelf and they're sculpted nicely into the groove. So we've got our R1, R2, L1, and L2 buttons back here, shoulder and trigger. So really like the way that that looks. And then nothing on this side at all. So one thing that's jumping out at me, oh, and down here at the bottom, we have our audio jack for our headphones. And then we also have our micro SD card slot, and that's where we're going to bring our 128 gigabyte micro SD card into the mix. Insert it just like that. Press it in there firmly. It is recessed in there quite a bit, so you may need the tip of a pen in order to secure that and seat it in place. Yeah, it's recessed in there, which is a good thing. You want to make sure that it's recessed in there. So I'm going to grab a pen and use that, or actually I might be able to use the tip of this. There we go. You can hear it just click into place. That's a good thing because you don't want to run the risk of bumping into that and ejecting this while your handheld is booted up. That's a great way to corrupt a card. So nothing on either side in terms of controls. One thing I notice here, obviously, is we have no volume controls on here. So I believe that the plus and the minus are going to be our volume controls, but we got to test that out. So we've got our micro SD card plugged into our handheld. We're going to go ahead and power this on and tour through everything that this offers. All right, guys, we just loaded up the Arc OS build here for this Powkiddy handheld, and we're going to go through this collection by collection. We land by default on the favorites collection. That's going to be just a custom setup collection that you put together yourself. You add your favorite games in here for easy access, but let's go up to all games. All games is our master list. This is going to have every single title from this build in here in one list, and it should be in alphabetical order. But if we go above Sonic and Mario here, you see that it says 10,121. That is the total number of games on this 128 gigabyte card for this Powkiddy device. So 10,120 games is massive. Let's jump in here and see what the layout is like. So now this is something that I'm familiar with seeing time and time again with these setups. And I'm going to point out the one flaw here. You'll see title by title, we have scraped data. It's very nicely put together, text list on the left-hand side. We either have box art or a screenshot along with a logo for each title, which is awesome. You can see, very easy to navigate. Here's the issue though, they put numbers in here before the letters. So it's going to, by default here, put the numbers in order. So we're going to start up here with comma 88 games, followed by 001 1941. If they didn't put the number in here, everything would be perfectly in alphabetical order, but the numbers are going to throw things off considerably. So we're going to get a ton of numbers in here first, and I'm going to hold down the D-pad down just to show you guys how many titles are in here with a number first. And it's going to pop up here on the screen in the center once I hold it for a little while. So 0, 7, now we're into 16, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. And you'll notice that these are all the numbers in front of the titles. But if we hold this down long enough, and it does take a while, we'll get to our A titles. And then from that point on, everything is going to be in true alphabetical order. So here we go. We're in the A's now. Now it's very easy to navigate. And what's cool is we can hit select, we can go to jump to and say we're looking for S titles. We just go over to S and then we hit our A button. So there's S, we hit A. It's going to bring us right to the S titles. So they made a mistake in the beginning of this. They shouldn't have put the numbers in, but it is still relatively easy to locate what you're looking for. You know, and you can get to where you need to get to on here. They should have fixed that before, you know, putting this into production, but it is what it is. We can still navigate what we need to navigate here and find things. Now, in terms of duplicates, there are duplicates here and there. The majority of the duplicates, though, are games that are on multiple systems. Like this one right here. This is a duplicate that is 2 of the exact same version. This is the Scrabble Blast for Game Boy Advance. It's in here twice, in fact. So, you know, there are some issues every now and then where there are duplicates, but I don't think there's a ton of duplicates. A lot of what you'll see on here is the same game for like Genesis, Super Nintendo, stuff like that, MAME in some cases. You know, games like that where it was released to multiple platforms or there's multiple versions, that doesn't bother me. But like right here, we have 2 duplicates for the same setup right here. These are both Famicom games. There are duplicates thrown into the mix. So that makes me think that that 10,121 games is realistically much less than that. It's not as bad as some of the other setups, but it is padded a little bit. I'd say the true count is probably around like 7,000 games if I had to guess. And that's it. I'll be perfectly honest. That's purely a guess because I don't have the time to go through 10,121 games to see how many duplicates there truly are. But I would say that you're probably about 3,000 over what the true count is. So we'll keep it moving though. We'll go through each of these collections. We have arcade classics here with 96 games. If we jump in here, you see the layout and it's true to the alphabetical order here. Very easy to navigate. Everything is scraped beautifully on here. We'll back out of this one. Capcom System 1. Inside here, we have 31 games. Capcom System 2 has 37 games. Capcom System 3 has 4 games. All those counts are accurate and they're nicely put together as well. So love the uniform, seamless design here. 1,576 games for MAME. This is classic arcade. We do have a couple of shortcuts up here at the top. There's 2 different versions of the Simpsons arcade game, 2 different versions of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game up here. This is 4 games. We also have all of our Mortal Kombat games in here. So just kind of creates an easy way of navigating those really popular collections. 2-on-2 Open Ice Challenge. Love that game. But you can see how everything populates in. Very consistent, very easy to navigate. We'll back out. We have WonderSwan Color over here with 91 games. We have PC Engine with 274 games. We have Family Computer, 1,943 games in here. If we jump in, we even have featured games. We have a couple different sub-collections as well, so lots of stuff to unpack in here. We'll back out. We have Super Famicom, and what was the count there? 425 Super Famicom games. Love that. Love that collection. We have Game Boy, 468 games. Game Boy Color, 531 games. Game Boy Advance, 1,029 games. I love the way that this is all laid out. The counts on here are accurate. They're not overly padded or anything like that. Not to say that there's not the occasional duplicate. We did see that there were some duplicates for Game Boy Advance already in the master list, but those game counts would suggest that it's still relatively on point. Nintendo DS with 220 games. Consistently scraped again. Alphabetical order is consistent. Love it. Let's back out. We have Mega Drive with 1,937 games. And we have an official collection, sub-collection up there at the top as well. And that seems like kind of a high game. Well, I guess for Mega Drive, it might not be. 866 games for Sega Genesis over here. So there will be some crossover, obviously, here, but they're not technically the same. So, you know, we can't be too critical. We have Sega Game Gear here with 263 games. We have Neo Geo with 169 games. We have Neo Geo Pocket Color, 77 games. Original PlayStation with 74 games over here. Let's take a look at PlayStation. It's one of my favorite retro collections as well. And there are a couple titles, it looks like, that aren't scraped, or just one or two, honestly. Die Hard Trilogy has nothing scraped. So yeah, there's a few missing. But still, the majority are present on here. Looks like a good collection of games. I want to see if Tekkens are in here. Those are my favorite PlayStation games. We've got Tekken 2, Tekken 3, excellent. All the Tomb Raiders, it looks like. All the Tony Hawk Pro Skaters, love those as well. So this is pretty awesome here, I will say. It doesn't look like we have any WWF PlayStation games. That's a little bit of a bummer, but it may be awkward to play those on this setup too. We'll have to see. We have our options here. You can go in here and start making adjustments to your setup and builds, emulators, all that good stuff. And we circle back to our all games list. So that is all of the collections that are included in here. And it looks to be some really great stuff, but we got to test out the performance. Let's dive into some games and see what the performance is like on this Powkiddy V10 handheld game console. All right, guys, love the experience playing on the V10 handheld console from Powkiddy. Plug and play with over 10,000 games. Now, are there duplicates? Yes, there's some duplicates on here. It's not a ridiculous amount of duplicates. A lot of the duplicates are games that are from multiple platforms, multiple collections. So Terminator 2 Judgment Day, you're going to find that for 3 different collections on here. It's not the same version of the same game. So, you know, stuff like that, I give them some leeway with, but there are some duplicates that are just straight up the same exact version for the same exact collection. I hate stuff like that, but there's not an abundance of those here, so I'm not going to knock them too hard for that. I love the layout and design of this, though. It's a little bit short. It's like a squashed version of some other handhelds that we've seen from Powkiddy in the past, but I like it. It's very easy to take with you on the go, easy to throw in your pocket. This is something that I would put in the center console of my car. I'd throw it in my pocket if I'm going to be waiting for my kids outside of practice or, you know, at the bus stop. Stuff like that where I'm sitting for 10, 15 minutes. I could play Sonic the Hedgehog. I could jump into Tekken 3, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, all my favorite games very easily on this. 3.5-inch IPS screen. Is the resolution top-notch? No. But the picture does look good considering the fact that these games are very old. It's really nothing that is concerning to me at all. This is also something that obviously does not have analog sticks. I'm not going to knock them for that because it's not like they left them off of this. It wasn't intended to have those. The games that you would play with this are games that obviously don't require analog sticks. However, there are games like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 where it would be a better experience if we had analog sticks, but it is what it is. It's a portable console that's meant to be compact, meant to be easy to throw in your pocket, throw in your bag, throw in your car, and access on the go. So I love what it has to offer. The sound quality is perfect on here. It looks really cool. The shoulder and trigger buttons on the back, minor adjustment for me personally because I'm used to this layout. I love the vertical Game Boy style layout, but I'm used to this on other handhelds that are a little bit more longer. They're a little bit longer vertically. So, you know, I feel like I had to make some adjustments hitting those shoulder and trigger buttons there. What I ended up doing was I put my thumbs down here on the bottom edge and I kind of press up a little bit and that stabilizes the experience because it is a little bit shorter. It took me about 5-10 minutes to get used to that. And now this is what I'm used to and I love it. So Really a big fan of this. This is priced at about $53.99 at the time of this recording. Prices do fluctuate, sometimes on a weekly or even daily basis, depending on where you're sourcing this from. But I'm going to provide you guys with links in the description of this video, as well as at the top of your screen right here. So get a little bit more information on this, and you can click those links in order to do so. But $53 to even $60 is on average what you're going to pay for something like this. I think it's a phenomenal price point for the power that you get associated with this. This isn't meant to give you Nintendo Wii or Switch or, N64. This is going to give you exactly what you saw here, but it's going to give you all of those games. Perfect experience, no issues, no stutters, no missteps on this. It delivers exactly what it promises across the board on here. And one other thing I do want to mention is it does not have Mario games. It does not have Donkey Kong games. Those are super controversial these days. Nintendo is cracking down on plug and plays, emulators, ROMs, all that stuff. So you will have to add those games yourself if you're looking for your classic Nintendo titles. But very easy to do so. In fact, the user manual walks through what you have to do in order to add new games. So love what this has to offer. Big fan of Powkiddy. The V10 definitely is a great plug and play, vertical sort of compact setup for you. Definitely check it out in the description of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up on the video. And of course, hit subscribe to stay in the loop for all future videos right here on the Retro Gaming Guy YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.